Pierre Poilievre is back at it again, causing the Liberals to have an absolute meltdown. So this is going to be a bit of a lengthy exchange, but Pierre Poilievre delivers a very, very nice burn to the Liberal Party regarding Mark Carney's ties with Brookfield. So we're going to get into this. Now, before we do, please don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really does help grow the channel. And I appreciate you guys so much for that. So let's get into this, and we'll talk about it after like usual.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, it really is embarrassing that a Prime Minister who claimed that he was the man with the plan cannot even stand up and debate me about pipelines on the floor of the House of Commons.
Just to give some context, Pierre Poilievre did formally challenge Mark Carney to a debate tonight. His itinerary was free. There was nothing on his schedule. Mark Carney ignored it for some reason. Wonder why.
Previous Conservative government approved a pipeline to Tidewaters, the Northern Gateway pipeline, which the Liberals then defeated and destroyed, giving massive power to the Americans to monopolize our oil. Will the Prime Minister, who promised to act with unimaginable speed 8 months ago, finally stand up for Canadian workers and confirm that he will approve a pipe to the top?
The Honourable Minister of Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, our government fully
Why won't Mark Carney stand up? Interesting. He won't even. He just asked questions. I mean, this is a little bit into the question period, but we're only 14 minutes in. He did have an exchange with Pierre earlier. He's all done for the day? That's the amount of work he puts in? Not interesting.
Stands the ultimate jurisdiction for interprovincial pipelines rests with the federal government. At the same time, our government has been clear that a proponent for a major project, for it to be designated, we expect it to work with the impacted jurisdictions and with First Nations. Mr. Speaker, they don't understand that. The Premier of Alberta understands that. They want to work with us.
Great job, Jeff. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, it really is pathetic that the Prime Minister cannot stand in his place and defend his position. He's afraid to defend the fact that on Thursday he will not sign on to a new pipeline. He will sign on to a public relations stunt while planning to hide behind the Premier of BC and abdicating his unique constitutional responsibilities. If he wanted a pipeline, if he no longer believed in the keep it in the ground extremist ideology that he supported for 10 years, then he would stand up today and say that he will approve a pipe to the Pacific. Will he?
The Honourable Minister of Excuse me, we haven't given the green light yet to answer the question. I'm waiting for it to get a little quieter.
You don't control this speaker's
Yeah, like the Honourable Minister of Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition doesn't seem to understand how to get a pipeline built. The Premier of Alberta does. Is working with this government to build Canada strong, Mr. Speaker.
So they like Danielle Smith now, who's, you can argue, is even more of a conservative than Pierre is. Alberta is a more conservative place than Canada is overall. So it's interesting. They don't seem to like Pierre Poilievre and say that he's like doesn't know how to get a pipeline. We'll give him a chance. Canadians decided not to out of fear. I mean, what do you want Pierre Poilievre to do about it? The Liberals lied through their teeth and won the election. And now the Liberals are going to come out and say, oh no, we're the ones who are good at buildings. Think, what? You've destroyed everything they've gotten their greasy hands on.
Of the Opposition.
Speaker, the question was for the Prime Minister. He's here in Ottawa today. He has the ability to stand up and state his position. He claimed that he was going to act with unimaginable speed. Here we are 8 months later, and he refuses to state whether he even supports a new oil pipeline or whether he'd like to continue to pump that oil at discounts to the United States of America while Canadians pay the price. What does it take to get a pipeline approved by this Prime Minister? Does it have to be a Brookfield pipeline?
Well, and that's the thing. If Brookfield owned a company that builds pipelines, it would be built tomorrow. The process would start tomorrow, because Mark Carney would get filthy rich. As we all know, it's no secret now that Mark Carney still makes a lot of money when Brookfield makes a lot of money. He's got a lot of investments in that company still, which is pretty bad news for the rest of Canada, Liberal voters included, because that means he's going to make policies that make Brookfield and him more money. And that's why he's here. This country's been robbed of the promise that we all grew up with. Like Pierre Poilievre says, if you work hard, you're supposed to be able to buy a decent home and have a decent life. Now you got to work really hard to have a crappy life. That's because of the Liberals. Mark Carney is here to take what's left and give us the crumbs on the table. And then we'll have to fight over those. Hopefully people start to wake up in the next few months. I mean, I don't know what it's going to take at this point, but you got to have hope.
The honorable government house leader.
Mr. Speaker, natural resources projects, interprovincial resource projects, there are indeed a great deal of those. The federal government has a unique role and must ensure that our obligations to First Nations, our obligations to other provinces, to communities, to consulting are present and those conditions are met, and then we are able to proceed. The Leader of the Opposition, now that he's standing right there, may want to stand up and say, what part of that process would he not respect, Mr. Speaker?
And get ready for more of Steve McKinnon's temper tantrums, by the way. Just a warning, and just in case you want to lower the volume a little bit.
Leader of the Opposition.
I don't respect the idea of standing in the way of Canadian energy workers and giving our oil to the Americans at a discount. What we would do is get the government out of the way and get the project built. The Prime Minister has the unique constitutional opportunity to do that. Section 9210 of the BNA Act makes it exclusively a federal decision. This Prime Minister is hiding under his desk rather than answering the question. 8 months after promising that he would take unprecedented action with unimaginable speed, he's done nothing. Why doesn't he get out of the way?
The honorable government house leader.
Nonsense. We have dozens of major projects in play and under study, and we are
understudy. Oh, I snorted. Understudy? Buddy, your Prime Minister, the guy sitting down, refusing to speak right beside you, he said things would happen at speeds unimaginable, speeds in which have never been seen before. So what are you in play? Oh, what? Let me guess, you're going to have more meetings and more discussions now too? Guys, don't worry. In 10, 15 years, things will start to get better, okay? Trust me, bro. That's basically what he's saying.
Speed. We are creating opportunities for energy workers, for young people, for housing, for steel, lumber, aluminum, and autos in this country. That is what we are doing. What is shocking is that the Leader of the Opposition stands in his place and somehow pretends in his whole fake way that he's going to override and steamroll the rights of Canadians that have a right to have a say in these projects. We're going to give them a say. He won't.
More confession by projection. Buddy, the only party that took away people's rights was you during COVID, you idiot, which you supported wholeheartedly. Shut down people's bank accounts for donating to a protest that the Liberals always say was violent. But then when there were actual violent protests, like in the States, they say, oh no, but they were mostly peaceful. Okay, first of all, show me the violence that happened. There's got to be video of it. Everyone was walking around with a camera. Show me what was violent. You're going to show me one thing. A lady getting trampled by a police horse, and they cheered for it. Loving, tolerance, acceptance. That's what Liberals preach. But they're full of shit. We all know it. the worst part about it, though, is that they're not even trying to hide it anymore, and they're still winning because sheep get to vote too, apparently, in this country. I just threw a temper tantrum.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
While the Prime Minister hides under his desk, he puts up his House Leader to rant and rave and pump his fists in the air. This Prime Minister said that we faced an existential crisis requiring that we act with unimaginable speed. And here we are, 8 months later, and he doesn't even have the courage to tell Canadians whether he supports a pipeline that would allow us to go around the American monopoly of our energy and get our product to the world. So will he finally stand up for workers, stand up in this House, and answer the question, a pipeline or a pipe dream?
And look who stood up. Not Mark Carney.
Mr. Speaker, speaking of ranting and raving, I ask...
They think, look at all them like laugh at that. It's like, first of all, that's not funny. Like, I don't care what type of sense of humor you have. There's nothing funny about that. Pierre Poilievre was calm, cool, and collective as he destroyed you, Steve. You've been the only one ranting and raving, and I'm surprised he hasn't shed a tear. I mean, the guy was just screaming a second ago.
The leader of the opposition yesterday. Two insignificant things were said by members of his caucus last week. Number one, the member for Calgary Midnapore suggested the Prime Minister was disloyal to Canada.
And he is.
Secondly, the member for Northern Rockies repeated mega claims that immigrants were the cause of economic slowdown in Canada. He should stand in his place right now and apologize for those comments. Take those members to task and do something for
Yeah, speaking of ranting and raving, I'm going to cut it off there because they get into something else. But I mean, it's just the same old crap with these morons. It's the same old thing. But they're all high and mighty because they tricked Canadians. They're not going to do anything good for Canada. They're just happy they tricked Canadians again. They must go home every night and be like, wow, these morons voted us in again. Thanks. We'll continue to get rich while you get poor. Cool. I thought liberals hated that, by the way. I thought they hated rich old white men. Yet every time they get a chance to vote for one, they do it.